You know that feeling when you open a closet or walk past a certain corner of a room and you just keep walking? Not because you forgot about it, because dealing with it feels like more than you have energy for right now. Most of us have at least one of those places in our home. Some of us have several. And here's the thing. It is not because you are disorganized. It is not because you do not care. It is because a lot of what is in those spaces is not just stuff. It is time. It is people. It is versions of your life that are hard to put in a bin and move on from. This video is going to walk you through this room by room in a way that is actually realistic. Not the version where everything gets done in a weekend and your house looks like a magazine. The real version. The one that accounts for the fact that your home holds your history. And letting go of pieces of it takes more than a label maker and a free Saturday. If you're new here, welcome to the Senior Reset. This is where we talk about simplifying your life in ways that actually stick, at a pace that respects where you are. Subscribe if you want more of this. Now let us get into it. Here is what most decluttering advice gets completely wrong. It treats your home like a storage problem, like the issue is simply that you have too many objects and not enough bins. So it gives you systems, labels, color-coded folders, 15-minute timers. And maybe some of that helps for a day or two, but then you stop. Because the problem was never organizational. The problem is that your home holds your history. That chair by the window belonged to someone you loved. Those boxes in the back of the closet are from a version of your life that looked completely different. That kitchen full of appliances represents all the cooking you did when the house was full of people. None of that is junk, and you know it. Which is why throwing it away feels wrong even when keeping it is quietly wearing you down. Now here is the part that most decluttering advice skips. And it is honestly the reason most people quit before they finish a single room. Before we walk into any room, you need a framework. 3 questions. Write these down or pause and take a photo of them, because these 3 questions are going to do more work than any organizing system ever could. Question 1. Does this belong to my current life or a life I used to live? Question 2. If I were moving into a beautiful new home tomorrow, would I pay movers to take this with me? Question 3. If I gave this away, would I feel loss or relief? You do not have to answer every question about every object, but when you pick something up and feel that familiar hesitation, ask those 3 questions. They cut through the noise faster than anything else. Now grab 4 boxes, bags, or laundry baskets, label them 4 ways: keep, donate, family, release. Keep is obvious. Donate goes to charity. Family is for items with sentimental value that belong in someone else's hands specifically, not donated, designated. And release is your word for trash, not because the items do not matter, but because release is the honest word for what you are doing. You are letting something complete its time in your life. Before we walk into the first room, I want to say something to a specific group of people watching this. If you have tried this before, if you set aside a weekend, started strong, and then quietly stopped after one closet, this part is for you. That is not a failure. That is what happens to almost everyone the first time and the second time. Because most people try to finish this rather than start it differently. There's a real difference there. You do not have to do this all at once. What matters is that you do not use that as an excuse to do nothing. One more thing, some of you are going to hit friction with family somewhere in this process. A spouse who is not ready. A child who has opinions about what you keep or let go. That is real. What I will say is this. The conversations you have while you are doing this are almost always easier than the ones that happen because you did not move at a pace that works for your household, but move. The kitchen. The kitchen is the right place to begin. It is the room with the most traffic, the most visible surfaces, and the fastest wins. You can make a meaningful difference here in a single afternoon and feel it immediately. That feeling is what carries you into the next room. For a lot of us, the kitchen used to run at full capacity. It fed families, it hosted holidays, it was the room where life happened every single morning, and now it might just be feeding 1 or 2 people. That is not a sad thing. It is just a different chapter. And your kitchen should reflect the chapter you are actually in. Start on the countertops. Do not open a single drawer yet. Just look at what is living on your counters and ask, does this earn its place here? The coffee maker used every morning stays. The bread maker sitting in the corner for 4 years because you thought you would start making bread? That goes into the question. Ask yourself honestly, is this still something I'm going to do? If the answer takes more than 2 seconds, you already know. Appliances are where people spend the most time negotiating with themselves. The fondue set, the ice cream maker, the pasta machine. These were bought with full intention, which makes them hard to release, but intention is not the same as use. If it has not come out of the cabinet in 2 years, it belongs in the donation box. Move into the pantry next, pull everything out, check expiration dates genuinely, not quickly, wipe the shelf, put back only what you actually eat. That collection of specialty ingredients you bought for one recipe 3 Thanksgivings ago, the canned goods from the last big snowstorm, the box of something from a specialty store you never quite figured out, those can go. The dish situation comes up every single time with this audience. Most of us have the everyday set and the good dishes that come out for company. Ask yourself honestly, how often does company come? If you are setting a table for 2 on a regular basis, you do not need service for 12. Keep what you use, donate the rest. Your goal when you leave the kitchen. Countertops cleared to only what is regularly used, 1 drawer fully sorted, and your 4 boxes ready for the next room. That is a real win. And the difference you see when you walk back in the next morning is going to remind you why you started this. The living room. If the kitchen is where life ran, the living room is where life happened. This is where your family gathered, where you spent thousands of quiet evenings, where your shelves hold things you have carried from home to home across your entire adult life, which is exactly why this room takes more care than the kitchen. Start with the furniture because it shapes everything else. Here is a question worth sitting with. Is every piece of furniture here because you chose it or because it arrived at some point and never left? A lot of living rooms hold chairs and tables that belong to someone else's house now. A parent who passed, a child who moved out, a previous home with different dimensions. None of that furniture is bad, but if it is making your living room feel crowded or heavy rather than warm, it is worth asking whether it is actually serving you. Books. A good approach is what I call the recommendation test. Would you genuinely recommend this book to someone you care about? Not because you are required to keep only what you would recommend, but because it is a way of asking whether the book still means something to you now rather than when you read it. The ones that changed something in you, those stay. The ones you vaguely remember and feel guilty about not finishing, those can go somewhere they will actually be read. Photos are one of the most emotional parts of any living room. Stacks of albums that never get opened are not honoring the people in them. They are just storing them. The most meaningful thing you can do with photographs at this stage of life is actually look at them, choose the ones that matter most, display those where you will genuinely see them, and digitize the rest so they are preserved without taking up physical space. For collectibles and display pieces, use what I think of as the museum rule. Museums do not display everything they own. They curate. They choose what is worth stopping for. Walk through your shelves and apply that same thinking. What would you actually pause to look at? What gives you a real feeling of warmth when your eye lands on it? Display that. The rest can go to the family box or be released with gratitude. Quick pause before we move into the bedroom, because the bedroom deserves your full attention and I want you in the right headspace for it. If this is already helping you think differently, subscribe to the Senior Reset. We do this every week, content built for people who are ready to live the next chapter with more intention and less weight. Now let us go deal with the room most people avoid. The bedroom. This is where most people take a shortcut, and it is the shortcut that keeps the bedroom feeling heavy no matter how much else you do in there. The bedroom holds a different kind of weight than any other room in the house. It holds grief sometimes, it holds the quiet evidence of how life has changed, and it holds more someday items than anywhere else because we put things here when we do not know where else to put them, and then we close the door. Start with the closet. Keep what fits the body and the life you have right now. Not the body from 10 years ago. Not the life that required a certain kind of wardrobe. The life that is actually yours today. Most of us have clothes in 3 silent categories. Things we wear regularly. Things we keep because they represent a version of ourselves we are not quite ready to let go of. And things we keep because someone gave them to us and releasing them feels disloyal. Be kind to yourself here, but be real. Clothes you do not wear are not honoring the person who gave them to you. Release them to someone who can use them fully, and keep only what makes you feel like yourself when you put it on. The just-in-case trap needs to be named directly. Just in case I need something formal, just in case my size changes back, just in case that style comes back around. Make peace with this. If it has not been worn in 2 years, the just-in-case moment has not arrived. It is not coming. Let it go with intention. The nightstand should take about 15 minutes. It should contain only what you actually need within arm's reach of sleep. A light, maybe a glass of water, a book you are currently reading, medications taken at night in a clear, organized way. Everything else, the receipts, the old pens, the things that migrated there without a reason, they go. Under the bed is its own conversation. For most people, it has become a secondary storage unit. Apply the same 2-year rule you will use in the garage. If it has been under there sealed and untouched for 2 years or more, open it, confirm what is inside, and make a clear decision rather than putting the lid back on. Some of you are dealing with a bedroom that still holds a spouse's belongings. This is one of the most tender places this whole process can take you. I am not going to give you a timeline. What I will say is this. You are allowed to create a bedroom that supports your rest and your peace while still honoring what that room has meant. Those two things are not in conflict. A bedroom that helps you sleep well is not a betrayal of anyone. It is an act of care for yourself, and you deserve that. The bathroom. Compared to what we just moved through, the bathroom is almost a relief. It carries the least emotional weight of any room in the house, so we move through this efficiently. The most important thing to do in any bathroom is the medication audit. Pull everything out. Look at every expiration date on prescriptions, over-the-counter medications, vitamins, supplements. Expired medications are not just clutter. They can be genuinely unsafe. Most pharmacies have a medication take-back program. Do not flush medications down the drain. Look up the disposal option nearest to you and use it. Skincare, hair products, cosmetics, same logic. If it expired, it goes. If you have not used it in 6 months, ask why. If you have 3 of the same thing because you bought a backup and forgot, consolidate. Towels. Keep 2 full sets per person, 1 in use and 1 in the wash. Everything beyond that is taking up space that could be open. Donate the extras to an animal shelter if nothing else. They are always grateful for them. One last thing in the bathroom. Look at it through the lens of safety and ease. Are pathways clear? Is the layout working for the way you actually move through the space? Do you have what you need in reach without digging? A bathroom that works well for you right now is a bathroom that supports you staying in your own home longer. That is worth getting right. The storage room and garage. Let us be straightforward about this room. If you have been half watching this video while mentally running through everything sitting in your garage or storage room, you're not alone. This is the room that lives rent-free in most people's heads for years. Not because it is impossible to deal with, but because every time you stand in the doorway, you do not know where a single decision begins. Everything in here was put here with a plan that made sense at the time. You are not dealing with failure. You are dealing with a life that changed, as all lives do, and a collection of objects that have not caught up yet. Do not try to do this room in a single day. Give yourself 3 sessions of 2 to 3 hours each over the course of a week or 2. This is not stalling, it is strategy. You cannot make good decisions when you are exhausted. And I know what some of you are thinking. You gave yourself sessions before. You had a plan before. And somewhere around the 3rd box, the energy ran out and the lid went back on. Here is what was probably different then. You were trying to decide too many things at once, picking up an object and simultaneously deciding if you want it, where it should go, whether someone else might want it, and whether you would regret letting it go, all in the same 30 seconds. That is exhausting. This time, the system we have been using all the way through this video handles that. You are not deciding the fate of everything. You are sorting into 4 boxes and asking 3 questions. The deciding happens in passes, not all at once. That is what makes this time different. Start by sorting into zones before making any decisions. Tools in one area, holiday items in another, boxes of stored personal items in another. Just sorting by category first brings immediate order to what probably feels chaotic. Tools and equipment apply the honest use test. Have you used it in the last 2 years? If yes, keep it. If no, ask whether there is a realistic plan to use it in the next year. Not a hopeful plan, a realistic one. Holiday items are where people overkeep out of guilt. Decorations for a house you no longer have, gatherings that look different now, traditions that have evolved. You're allowed to scale down. Keep what you genuinely look forward to using. Release the rest. And this is the part that actually makes this whole process mean something beyond just having a cleaner house. The legacy sort, items with genuine sentimental value that belong with a specific person. A grandchild who would love that old piece of furniture, a child who has mentioned wanting something. These go in the family box with a specific name attached. When that box is full, reach out to that person soon. A call, a visit, a text with a photo. Give them the chance to say yes or no without pressure. If they say yes, wonderful. If they say no, it moves to donation with a clear conscience. You offered it intentionally. That is all you could do. For larger decisions, know your 3 options. Estate sales services handle large volumes with value and take a commission. Donation organizations handle volume without the commission. Junk removal handles what cannot be donated or sold. You do not need to figure it all out in one afternoon, but you do need to make decisions rather than continuing to defer them. Here's where I want to leave you. By the time you close this video, you do not need to have done anything yet. You do not need to have emptied a drawer or moved a single box. What I hope has shifted is how you are thinking about the space you live in, not as a backlog you have to deal with someday, but as something you actually have the tools to change at your own pace. The place to start is the room that bothers you most when you walk past it, not the hardest room, the one with the most low-grade friction in your daily life. Start there, spend an hour, use the 3 questions, fill whatever boxes you fill, and notice how that single hour changes the way the rest of the house feels to you. 1 room, 1 afternoon, and something shifts. Leave a comment and tell me which room you're starting with. I genuinely read those, and it helps me know what to cover next. If this was helpful, share it with someone in your life who could use it. And if you are not subscribed yet, now is a good time. Every week on the Senior Reset, we put out something built for exactly where you are right now. I will see you in the next one.